So today I'm going to explain about how to calculate the present value of future money in one period. Then how to calculate the present value of the future money to be received after a number of years. And what is the annuity and how we can calculate, and how the annuity is different from perpetuity, and what is the growing perpetuity. So I'm just going to explain with taking some example here. So first of all, that what is the present value? So present value refer to an individual cash flow at one point in the future time. It means that the present value of the single amount means one period. So what does it mean? It means, for example, that $500 required in 1 year, for example, and the rate of interest today is 9%, which is also known as a discount rate. How much to set aside today so that in future that we will receive $500? So it means what is the value of the $500 today, presently, right? So $500 that we will receive after 1 year. So now the $500 that I have put it here, and 9% is the rate of interest, right? So this is the formula for this. Then how to calculate the present value of the future money? So what is the future value divided by 1 plus r? So how to calculate this one? And I'm just going to delete it and calculate once again, is equal to what is the future value. This is the future value, then divide by bracket open, so 1 plus interest rate bracket close, and $458.72 that we need to invest today, and after 1 year we will receive $500. So this is the present value of the single amount in one period. Now the second case is, how much money is required today if I need $500 after 3 years, right? The one amount after 3 years. So how much money that we will need to invest today? So in this case, the formula little change. So formula here will be the future value divided by 1 plus rate of interest to raised to 3, right? So it means 458.72, this much of money is required, right? After a couple of periods, then we will receive $500. So let's calculate once again, because that shift plus cap that I didn't put. So n here is a 3. So I'm just going to click over here, enter. So actually 386.09 is required, right? So it means if I invest $386 today, after 5 years, after 3 years, I'll get $500, right? For example, if I need $1,000 in future, then I need to spend 772. If I change the number of years, let's say I want after 5 years, then it means I need to spend 649.93. So what is happening these days? When you go to bank, right? Bank will ask to, do you want to deposit some money in GIC? And we say yes. And we want like uh, that after 5 years, we need $1,000, right? How much money I need to invest today? So they may recommend you that invest $649, $9.93 today, and after 5 years, you will get only one amount. That will be $1,000. So in this way, that we can calculate the present value of the future, but then we require I. I is the rate of interest is required. Now, next scenario is annuity. So annuity is just like a present value of the future money, but in a different interval, right? So difference between the present value and annuity is that present value is the one cash flow at one point of time, maybe after 5 years or maybe after 1 year. But annuity is a stream of equal cash flows. For example, if I need cash flow of equal amount in future, we use PV is the present value formula in Microsoft Excel, which is already available. Means how much money is invested today to get the stream of cash or equal cash flow. So that is known as annuity. So now, in annuity, we need a couple of things. For example, the rate of interest, that is the 10%, for example, and number of payment period investment. So what does that mean? It means I need three payments. Like in 3 years, I want $1,000 every year, right? But I'm not going to lump sum payment at the beginning. No, I don't want any payment at the beginning, or maybe I don't want any payment at the end of the period. So here, if we're talking about the present value, and it should be at the end of the period, mean the remaining amount. So no any remaining amount at the time of investment. I don't want to keep any amount with the bank or any investors. What I want $1,000 every month, or maybe every year. So in this case, the next is the type. Type means like when you want the payment at the beginning of the period. Yes, one. Now, this is the formula which is available here to calculate this much of money. If I spend today, then it means I will be able to get $1,000 every year for 3 years if the rate of interest is 10%. So this calculation can also be done manually. So how we can do that? I'm just going to explain. So look at this. I'm just going to write here first how much money. Let's say if I invest the this much of money, like 2486.85. This is the money that I invested today. Means let's say uh, I can put here first year, then second year, and third year. Okay, so if I at the beginning of the period I invest this much of money, and if we say what is the interest rate, so interest rate is the 10% that we know. So this is the interest rate we have here, it's 10%, right? So if the 10% interest rate we have, then we want to calculate what is the amount of the interest. So amount of the interest will be this amount that invested today multiply by 10%, and this is the money that we have. So now to make a total of these two, this money plus interest that we will earn during the period, so this much money that will be at the end of the period. So end of period that we have this money, we know that what we want to withdraw. So withdraw payment, so how much? $1,000. So if $1,000 is the withdrawn, then what is the remaining amount? So remaining amount will be this amount minus 1,000. So this much money that will remain at the end of the first year. So it means because that $1,000 that we withdraw, now this much money remains invested in the bank, for example, and rate of interest is the 10% that we know, right? And here we want to calculate the interest that we will earn during the period, and after then we will calculate the initial amount plus the rate of interest. So this much money that we will have, again $1,000 that will be subtracted because that we are going to withdraw at the end of the period. Now what is the rest of the amount we will have? So rest of the money that we will have, let's see, this minus this, enter. So $909 that we will have at the end of the second year, right? So now this money at the beginning of the period, exactly the same money will be there. 10% rate of interest we know, and here we find that this amount into 10% earning will be there during the period. If you make a total of this principal plus interest, and this will be $1,000. So here the $1,000 that we are going to withdraw at the end of the period, right? So 1,000 minus 1,000, there will be zero money. So look at this, lump sum payment at the end of the period is zero. and lump sum payment at the end of the period, that is 0. So we don't need any money remaining with them. Now, so 2486.85 that we invested, and at the end of the period that we have received $3,000, 1,000, 1,000, and 1,000. So look at this, the same thing that we have calculated with the help of this formula. So how to do this? Is equal to sign and just write the PV, the present value we want to calculate. So rate is 10%, and NPR is the total number of payment period in the investment. Then we have a payment. So payment $1,000 we want every year, and future value 0. I don't want anything remaining with the lender. Then type when we want, maybe at the end of the period or beginning of the period. So payment I want at the maybe beginning of the next period or end of the period. If I put 0, it's not going to have any effect. So 2486.85, that same, exactly the same answer that we have here. So this much money invested and 1,000 that we are earning. Now this is the annuity, right? So now next is the perpetuity. So perpetuity is different from annuity. So how this is different, I'm going to explain. Perpetuity means that annuity and perpetuity are both financial instruments that provide regular payments, right? But they differ in a duration. So annuity make a payment for the fixed period of time or maybe lifetime of an individual. So individual may have 80-year, 90-year life, right? But if we talk about the perpetuity, so that provides the payment indefinitely, means continue forever without an end date. So that is known as perpetuity. Now, uh, now it is useful to value some financial instruments such as preferred shares. Sometimes the preferred shares are there, and we assume that the firm will be in existence forever, and so we often assume that it will generate a cash flow in perpetuity. So what is the meaning of perpetuity that we have understood, right? It means a continuous payment over a period of time. So this is the main difference. Now how to calculate the perpetuity? So we know that the cash flow, we want cash flow of $1,000, and the discount rate or rate of interest is 7%. So the simplest formula here is for perpetuity, the CF is the cash flow divided by R. So that this is the amount that we need to invest today, and we will be able to get the $1,000 every year. So this is a perpetuity. Now let's see, if I delete it and want to calculate once again. So 1000 divided by is the 7%, enter. So this is the money we invested today, and we will receive $1,000 every year. So that is indefinite period of time. Second is the growing perpetuity. So what does it mean? Sometime if someone going to retire today and want $1,000 payment every year, but the thing is that the discount rate is 7%, means rate of interest, and if investor want that every year 3% growth should be there in the amount of the annual cash flow, so that is the growth rate. Then how much money the person need to invest today? So in this case, the 1007 and 1007%, so 3% is the growing rate or a growing rate that we have. So if I delete it and calculate the what is the cash flow here, the cash flow divide by, then we write here discount rate minus growth, bracket close and enter. It means $25,000 is required today, then it will have stream cash flow of $1,000 for indefinite period of time, right? I can make some manipulation here to make you understand clearly. For example, the one student want $2,000 every month. So there are 12 months in period. So $2,000 into 12, so that will be $24,000 every year we want. So right here at $24,000, right? So $24,000, if I'm writing here So it means uh, if if this is the case that we need $342,857 if we invest today, then $24,000 that we will be able to receive. Let's say we know the inflation rate is 3%, right? So I want not only $24,000, but what I want next year, the first year, this is the first year, and the second year, what I want, the second year, I want not 24,000, I want more than 24,000. Means I want this 24,000 plus 24,000 3%, right? So I want 24,720, right? So it means that I need a 3% growth every year. So what I do, so 3% here I'm writing, and in the formula you can see r minus g, so means 7 minus 3 is equal to that to 4. So this much, it means $600,000 is required. Today we will keep it aside, mean we're going to invest it maybe in the bank, where that I will be able to get, or the investor will be able to get a 7% return plus the growth of 3% every year to meet the inflation effect. So this is that how that we can calculate the number of things that we have learned today. Calculation of the present value, then calculation of the annuity, perpetuity, and growing perpetuity.